Warning. The following podcast contains explicit language, honest opinions and a sense of humor. Welcome to the Brothers Take.
Here's a fun fact. Turkey has a city called Batman.
Turkey has a city called Batman?
Yeah.
Well, Castle Bridge has a shop called
Fuck off. No, it doesn't.
No, it's got a city
no, it
called
does.
Batman. It's they sell bathtubs.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
remember
the
for
city
ages.
is Turkey.
Like before that shop opened up, like they used to have signs coming soon, and it'd be the big bat logo. I was excited.
Wow. Yeah, I thought a new film was coming, and then they were like,
No, I thought it was
shit.
going to be like a, I don't know,
Batman
like
themed shop.
Disneyland, but Batman
Man,
in Wexford.
not even joking. I have said for the longest time that like if I was super wealthy, I would love to set up a theme park. It's like Disneyland, but it's called Gotham, and you go to visit. And I even came up with like theme parks and rides and stuff. Like I even like a ghost train that's themed like, so you get on it and you're heading towards something, and then all the smoke comes at your face. It's supposed to be from Scarecrow, and then it just dips you, and you see all the scary shit comes at you. Or like Joker's Fun House and stuff. Like there's so much you could do.
I just had to go like, you
What?
get on the ghost train, you go through it, and then there's like pictures of like your naked parents, like the
Oh,
fucking
you
thing
put
from
the
The
Killing
Killing Joke.
I don't know if I would do that one. Yeah, all that, and they somehow every individual person who goes on only sees their own fucking family. Like, what like this is
They're like the same pictures, but it's like those weird kind of like what do you call them, like the deep fake videos
all right.
where
yeah.
they just get your. It's like those like photo booths.
Yes.
So at the beginning they take a picture of you, and it just imposes your picture.
Oh
So
god.
it's all like
That's all
distorted.
these weird shit. Okay, guys, I was talking about it was actually going to be a nice family place to go with some mature rides for older people. You guys are making it weird.
You're spraying Scarecrow's toxin into people's
No,
faces. How the hell is
no. That's only on older people. You have to be a certain height to get on that ride, and so really tall toddlers can get on it.
Yeah. This is gonna be a really tall 6-year-old.
Anyway, if you haven't guessed already, if you're listening to this, what our topic is for this is actually a bonus segment of the Brothers Take. To celebrate Batman Day, we decided to do a tribute segment to Batman. Talking all things Batman. Well, we won't get around to everything because our bonus segments are usually much shorter than full-length episodes. But we're going to talk a bit about our favorite depictions of Batman villains, maybe what our favorite Batmobile is, etc., etc. And we'd love people to also get in touch, let us know their take on Batman as a character, their favorite Batman villains, their favorite depiction of the Batmobile, etc., etc., as we go along. So if you're listening on YouTube, you can always jump into the comments to let us know what you think. And then if you're listening on audio platforms, you can get in touch on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Brothers Take to let us know what you think about Batman and to help us celebrate Batman Day. I don't know why. Is it the 19th of September? Is Batman Day? I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why it's that day. I know he originally came out in 1939. I know that's like the original year that Batman was released.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
Date.
Yeah, neither do I.
I don't think
think
it's
they just-
September 19th.
I think they just randomly picked that day because it suits. Because I don't recall there ever being kind of a Batman Day.
Well, I think there should be one because they have a Star Wars Day every year and plenty of other days for other characters, franchises. Batman deserves it. So anyway, without further ado, let's talk Batman. Nah, that's not.
Is he the most famous comic book character ever? Like, it's hard to say now because of the success of
Marvel?
Like, in the eyes of kids, what would be the most famous? But when you think about it, like, I think he's like the face of every Comic Con. He is for Dublin, at least.
I think, right,
Yes.
that he is.
Yeah.
Nice. No, I think at this point, like, I think there was a time when it was definitely like
Superman.
right? And I'm talking in the last 80 whatever years. These
Yeah.
characters have been around 85, 86 years now. I think there was a time it was definitely Superman. I think he was definitely the
so.
most famous superhero.
I say even between them two, it would have been Batman as well.
I think at one point it wasn't. Like, I think in the 60s, when you're talking like they're both just as goofy as each other, you might as well take the flying alien who shoots lasers.
Yeah, but like, I mean,
Especially
even
considering that was Cold War and stuff.
yeah, but outside
Superman.
of comics though, like, I mean, there's all like the Adam West TV show and even the serial that became before that, and and then obviously the success of the kind of the films as well.
Yeah, I
Like,
suppose
I know Superman had a
the
pretty
Christopher
good
Reeve
run,
Superman movie
but,
gave him, like, really elevated the character, I think.
yeah.
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 I just think like Batman's just been in everyone's mind. He's like the closest thing to almost James Bond in a comic book sense.
I think at this point in the grand scheme of things, he is the most famous
famous.
and most popular superhero.
Yeah.
Like, I think you could you could bet your whole franchise on that
He has
character.
a whole day.
You know what I mean? He has a day, yeah. There must be a Superman day and a Spider-Man day out there somewhere as well for some of the other superheroes.
I haven't heard of it.
We haven't done a bonus on that.
No.
But okay, so talking about Batman. Well, first of all, is he like, he is my favorite superhero? Is he your favorite superhero?
Yeah, definitely.
I love the question.
Well,
Just go really obscure.
Who's your favorite
Just-
superhero?
Who
Eric?
is your favorite superhero? Eric, which superhero do you most admire? If you know what I say is your favorite.
Yeah, no, it'd have to be Batman.
Why does it have to be? The age-old
Because
question.
it's
What do we like
Alright,
about
because-
you know what?
Batman? Because it's Batman. Enough said.
Make it a meme. Because it's Batman. No, but what do we like about Batman?
I think for me personally, like, I think you can take any superhero, and there's within their storyline, there's going to be like that more. I'm not going to say gritty, but at least you can have some sort of personal connection that it's like it's saying something, right? It's saying something about the world we're in.
Yeah.
You know, like you can take it a little bit more seriously outside of just you know, smack bang pow and stuff. But I think for the majority of comic stories, for every other superhero, it isn't that. It is a bit campy. Like even now, I think stories are still a bit camp with the other superheroes. Whereas with Batman, I think the majority of the stories are actually pretty serious. You know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's that period between like 50s, 60s maybe, but
Yeah.
prior to that even, it's still kind of serious. And then from the 70s onwards, it's been really serious.
Well, actually, I suppose like prior to that is why we got that goofy phase, and it wasn't
Yeah.
Batman alone. There was a few others as well, but there was concern that the main people buying comic books were kids, but the people who were writing the stories kind of weren't writing for kids. Like, they were writing really mature
Yeah.
stuff, or like the early versions of the Joker wasn't the goofy clown. He was a psychotic killer. And then they were like, we're gonna have to, like, they brought in the comic book censorship, and they're like, we gotta sort this shit out, like, because kids are reading stuff they really shouldn't be reading. And yay, thank God they censored comics. We got 20 years of fucking bullshit. I know some good stuff came out too, but
I think that has, for me, that's something to do with it. It's not that I love things that are like edgy and shit like that. It's just that I think a story that is written seriously and can be taken seriously has more longevity to it. Stuff like Sherlock Holmes, for example, right? Like there's something about that story and those characters that have a legacy beyond the time that they've been written in. And I think Batman holds true to that. And I don't know about other superheroes. Like even Superman was going down the drain until they killed him, and that's when he became popular.
well, I mean, like, I think I as a child hated Superman.
Yeah.
I have it's definitely more recent years where I now really like the character and think he poses some very interesting stories and questions. But as a child, I was just like, I mean, nothing hurts him, so how can you possibly write an interesting story around that? And, you know, I didn't think about the grander kind of ideologies around that or what he represented or anything. Like, I was just like,
Yeah, but
boring.
I don't think they really presented those stories
No,
either.
I think
Not
I think again when it came to like the 80s and stuff, writers. Like, is it Grant Morrison? Like,
Yeah, he
getting
did a
my
long run on
writers mixed up.
Batman.
Yeah, like when they got their hands on them, like they just kind of started asking those type of questions.
Yeah. How about you then, Eric? What do you like about Batman, or what draws you to Batman?
I think, like what Adam was saying,
You always say that. You know that.
that's because Adam. That's because Adam
or
always
also
talks. Adam
go-
always talks first.
I know that,
So,
but it's like you go.
like what
I think
Adam was
Adam
saying.
summed it up actually.
Yeah.
So on to you, Chris.
That's
I'm sorry to take the words right out of your mouth, Eric. Like,
no, but that,
In every
with,
episode.
with Batman's characters, you can almost pick any time within Earth's history, and his villains would perfectly fit within it. If you know what I mean, like other characters, other superheroes within different comics or whatever, they don't have that sort of sense of humanity to their villains. Like the idea, if you take Poison Ivy, who's an eco-terrorist,
Yeah.
like you could almost plant her in anywhere.
That was good. You can plant her. Yeah. I got you.
Planned. Totally
Yeah.
planned. Anyway,
I
yeah.
hope the screen like freezes and you start having Mr. Freeze. It's like Sorry.
Yeah, like that their message is timeless. And so therefore it makes Batman great to write about. Much like Sherlock Holmes, you can get Sherlock, put him nearly anywhere and he will just work. And then everyone loves a good detective story. Everyone loves a crime thriller. Everyone loves that sort of trying to solve the mystery and everything. So I think that's why he's not necessarily loved by everyone. There are some people who don't like Batman on the basis of he's Batman, and they're like, yeah, some people are like that. They're wrong in their thinking, but some people are like that.
No.
They're crazy. They're as crazy as the villains he fights.
Well said, Eric. Maybe
Thanks.
next time just leave it as what Adam said. No, I'm only joking. For me, I suppose, I mean, there's the obvious stuff, which is like, you know, he looks cool, and his Batmobile is cool, and he's got a cave, and he's got badass shit, and he's got the coolest rogues gallery ever. And I think it's very important that like, a hero is nearly only as good as his villains, really, you know, in terms of what they're actually going to be challenged by. And if they don't have interested villains, it's like you can make the coolest hero ever, but if they don't have interesting villains, then there's really no interesting challenge or story to be told. So like I don't know. I personally I think Batman's Rogues Gallery is the best Rogues Gallery, not only in comics but probably ever in everything. I think he's got the best Rogues Gallery. But as well, like it comes up a lot. People will say like Batman's the most relatable superhero, right? Because he's human. And I think on that grounds alone is not like I don't think he's particularly relatable.
No, like
I
Spider-Man
would
is
say-
more relatable.
I was going to
think.
say that. I would say Spider-Man is more relatable, and as a child, he was my favorite for that reason. I could see myself in him a bit more because it's like he was young and he was going through school and he had responsibilities and he was worried about getting a job, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm coming up to like that stuff.
You were some shit child.
Oh.
That's what you worried
What do you mean
about.
I was a
That's
shit
what you.
child?
That's what you thought about. Oh no, will I get a job? Oh, you fucking 8 worried about a job?
I thought that made me a pretty good child, to be honest. You mean shit at just being a child? Like
Yeah,
you're just
yeah,
like
yeah,
enjoying
yeah.
your youth. Okay.
Yeah, you weren't enjoying it.
Well, it did come out that way. Well, for those reasons, I find Spider-Man definitely more relatable. But I do think Batman's a more in-depth character. I think there's a lot more, is richer.
Yeah, I don't think
in
Batman's
every
more
sense.
relatable.
He is richer.
I don't think he's more relatable. He's more like maybe kind of desirable in a weird way. Like, not that you know, you want his troubles, but again, kind of like James Bond. It's like he's got the cool car, he's got the like, you know, the Batcave, a lair that he goes to. Like that's essentially like we all try to make equivalent, you know. Like we have that idea of a man cave, so to speak. This
Right. Yeah.
you know, with your setup and you know you get to play your games and shit like that. It's kind of a similar dream is to have a place that you go to with your gadgets.
Yeah.
So in that, like, well, he just, you know,
And
kicks
to
the
role
shit
play.
out of
Yeah, yeah.
mental patients.
Yeah, he's really
For a
good
living.
for the city, isn't he?
I think that's another thing I really like about Batman is that, like, as when I'm younger, you got a much more innocent mind, so he's a cool guy, a bit like Zorro taking on bad guys.
Yeah.
But as I get older, it's like you can read so much into him and his psychology.
Yeah.
Like, is he a hero? Is he himself psychotic and this is his therapy and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Like, and like questions with Superman or Thor or whatever like that, they're more of a are we alone in the universe kind of the questions. But I think Batman, because he's human, the questions you ask about him are, I suppose, relatable.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think Batman as a character is not necessarily totally relatable. The only part about him that's relatable is that he is human, so he goes through human trouble. But I think you can put that on all superheroes. Really, like take the powers away, which is the same thing as take away Batman's wealth and his gadgets, and normally they go through human problems. But the thing that's super relatable with Batman, I think, is not just him. It's the Gotham universe. All the different things that come up, like political troubles and psychological problems and trauma and life.
I do love that. Yeah, I love that kind of chicken and egg situation between him and Gotham. It's like, well, which came first? Like, did Gotham make Batman, or did Batman make Gotham more crazy? Like, that kind of thing I really, really love. And it's kind of like you can't have one without the other. Like, I love that I was watching the animated version of the Dark Knight Returns recently enough. Super. And I just love that moment, like, where the Joker is essentially a vegetable because there is no Batman. And then when Batman the Dark Knight Returns, I guess, he hears Batman for the first time, and then the smile comes back, and the Joker returns. Essentially, it's like he just needs him in his life.
It's like I was actually just watching earlier today. I was watching the Batman animated series, and there's an episode called "The Man Who Killed Batman." I don't know if you guys remember that one. And it's the whole story is that Batman is supposedly dead, and was kind of accidentally offed by this like guy who's like, he's a nobody. And he wants to be a somebody, and they call him Sid the Squid, and he keeps getting into these like unusual happenings, and he's actually really shy, and he kind of wants to get out of trouble. But the Joker ends up like kidnapping him and getting him involved in trouble, and he's like, "You'll see, Batman will come." Like, he's still out there. And then Batman doesn't come, and they're like robbing a jewelry shop, and Harley Quinn has all this jewelry and everything, and Joker's like, "Put it back, Harley." She's like, "Why?" He's like, "'Cause he's not coming." And he's like,
brilliant.
Yeah, it's really good. And then he ends up like having a tear, and he goes, "Without Batman, crime has no punchline."
That's amazing.
It's a really good dynamic. Like, he ends up deciding to put your man Sid the Squid. It's actually, I was like, this is a bit dark for the cartoon that it is. Like, they put Sid the Squid into a coffin, lock the coffin, and start lowering it down to a vat of acid, but they're having it as a funeral to Batman. It's kind of messed up. But yeah, those kind of parallels of Batman and his villains is really interesting, I think. I suppose because we usually talk video games, right? Before we go on to some of the other versions of Batman, we've talked a bit about some of the Arkham games, but there are some other Batman games, and maybe they're in the run. I don't know. But just very quickly, what is your favorite Batman game? Whether it's for the game itself or whether you think it does Batman the best, or whatever your reasoning is. So it could be like the Telltale Batman games, the Lego Batman games, Injustice if you want to count it more of like a Batman story than anything else, or the Arkham games. Which one do you think stands out above the rest?
As a Batman game, it'd be Arkham Asylum for me.
Yeah.
I'd say the same. Arkham Asylum. We've
We've
already discussed Arkham Asylum.
We discussed
in
Arkham
depth.
Asylum. Check it out. It's a great episode, but also I know I tell you why I'm like come back to it. It's like it's obviously one of the Arkham ones because I do think they are the best Batman games out there. And at the time I wasn't able to answer it. I was like, oh god, no, I have to. Which one is my favorite?
You have to pick one out of the Arkham series.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
What did you think of like the?
Oh, go on.
What do you think of the Telltale version? Because I can't really recall much Batman games. I know there was one based on the animated series. It wasn't great. I think there was a Batman Begins game on PS2.
Well, I remember playing a bit of it on Xbox.
Yeah.
But I think it was PS2.
There was the Lego Batman games.
I played the Lego Batman games. a bit of crack.
Yeah, but just
You know, that's
more Lego game.
It's more like a Lego game than it is a
So
Batman.
really, the only Batman game I can really think of is the Telltale one, like exclusively Batman. What did you think of that?
I
only played the first one.
I thought season 1 was okay. I thought it was interesting. I thought like the episodic mystery thing was cool. But I was nearly like, I'd nearly rather watch this than play it.
I was the same, yeah.
Very little playing to do.
The pacing was slow, I thought.
Yeah. So I thought like the gameplay sucked. Let's be honest, absolutely sucked. But I thought the versions of the characters was cool, and I thought the plot twist, whether you were a Batman fan or not, worked. Because like if you're a Batman fan, they played a twist on one of the characters that you wouldn't know. You're like, oh fuck. And then if you don't know it at all, the twist works just as well. So I thought that worked really well. I gave up on season 2. A lot of people say they prefer it. I thought it was terrible. I thought it was so boring. I hated it. You played as Bruce Wayne for most of it, pretending to be a criminal with the gang of super. I just thought it was terrible. I was like, this doesn't work at all. Like, it really doesn't work. But anyway, that's my view. Some people might love it. I don't know. I think they liked it. It kind of shows like in the choices you're making, you're kind of giving rise to the Joker. I think that's what people.
Oh, right, okay.
But I didn't care for it all that much at all. I think Harley Quinn was like the leader of the gang, so you had Harley Quinn before you had the Joker.
Okay.
This is weird.
They seem to have taken a lot of liberties with the game.
Yeah, and that's cool. And you know what? That's another thing I like about a lot of Batman writers and Batman stories. And it never makes me mad for some reason. Like if in other things, I'd nearly watch it and go, oh, they got that character so wrong, and therefore it's bad. As opposed to the Batman villains, you can kind of do what you like with them, and as long as they're somewhere in the ballpark, you're kind of like, that's a really cool take on that character.
Yeah, a little bit like, I suppose. Yeah, it's a little bit like Shakespeare in that way. You know, the way like you could take Shakespeare, like it's written there obviously, but you can kind of take it and change it to suit whether whoever's playing the role, or maybe you're setting it in a different time or something like that. It just has that artistic value to it. Like I agree. Like when it comes to other things, you're kind of like, well, that's wrong. That's not how it goes or whatever. But I think Batman's been told a lot more. We've been shown that it works if you change shit. Like in Tim Burton's Batman film, for example, with instead of Joe Chill being the killer. Yeah. Like I'm just thinking, even within the greater DC films, you know, the kind of new Flash connection, which is going to kind of connect everything together.
Yeah, which is cool.
Which is amazing.
I hope it works.
But like even for my own like kind of fan fiction, just trying to, if I wanted to piece everything together, you could put the idea that Batman kind of imagined that it was the Joker who killed his parents. Like it could have actually been Joe Chill, but in order for Batman to fuel his hatred towards this Joker, because the Joker never specifically says straight up like, "Oh yeah, it was me" or anything like that. You know, there's no real revelation.
You just have Batman say, "You
killed my parents,"
and he's like, "Huh? Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about." Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it could be that Batman is just like imagining that in his psyche just to kind of further fuel some sort of revenge.
Screwed up would it be as a story if like they do like a memento on it, where every time he catches a supervillain, he then convinces himself that the next one he's hunting is the one who killed his parents.
Yeah.
He like plants clues
for himself
at the crime scene and then goes and collects them, and he goes, "Oh my god."
But that's like not out of character for him. This is kind of what he's doing.
Kinda, I suppose. That's one of the reasons though I absolutely love Batman Begins. Jesus, we're jumping all over the place, but it doesn't matter. It's all Batman related. But one of the reasons I love Batman Begins, and it took me a long time. Like I think I did say it before, that when I first saw that film, I did not like it, and that's because I was watching it with the wrong lens and the wrong information, and you know, I had no idea really what I was talking about. But I love that because in my mind, yes, like Batman's whole mission is vengeance. I am vengeance. I am the night, and that's why in like Tim Burton's one, he becomes Batman because he's looking for his parents' killer. But the thing I love about Batman Begins is he's not, because even before he went off and trained for years, the guy who killed his parents is dead.
Yeah.
So it's not about that. It's not about revenge. And they even point that out. It's like, you know, justice is not about revenge. You know, he says it to Rachel,
Yeah.
like, you taught me that. I love that. I love that he's not looking for Joe Chill. That's not the point of his crusade at all. And I think it's right in my mind. Like, I know for some people, and I mean, don't get me wrong, the vengeance angle is cool too. I love that part in the Robert Pattinson trailer when he says, I am vengeance, instead of saying I am Batman. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, you are. But at the same time, I think in the grand scheme of Batman's crusade, I don't think it's about vengeance. I
I suppose
prefer
it
it.
depends on the take, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and that's and
Yeah.
you can take it either way, I suppose. Yeah, but I love the thing I love what Christopher Nolan did with that trilogy was like the whole thing of like Batman is a symbol and what the symbol represents, and like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter who it is, it doesn't have to be me. Like then anyone could be Batman, and being
Which is pretty
Batman,
meta.
yeah, and being Batman could be like what he says to Gordon at the end, like putting a coat on a small boy. Doing that is being Batman in a way. It's this
Yeah.
kind of weird.
Just be good.
Except for that time when everyone dressed up as Batman and he decided to beat them all up and arrest them and go, you're
Yeah,
not Batman.
Yeah, it's like, not you though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys.
No,
Anyone
guys.
could be Batman, but not you.
As long, you can be Batman as long as I say you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Actually, with that in mind, then, do you guys have a favorite?
No. Hold on. Answer
Hold
your
up a
fucking
minute.
favorite
Answer,
Arkham.
yeah, what's your favorite
Answer
Arkham
favorite Arkham here.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest, and obviously for a lot of people it's Arkham City, and that's the highest rated one. But for me, it's between Asylum and Night, and I'm not sure which one. And there's something about. I think they both explore the Batman character so well, and I find them both the most fun to play. Night has a lot of really annoying shit with that Batmobile. Lots of annoying shit. But it also has a lot of stuff that I absolutely love, which are my favorite parts of that series. In particular, the Joker commentary running through. I fucking love that. I absolutely love that. I think that's the fucking best thing in that whole series, probably. I get enjoyment and a kick out of it every fucking time. But it's also really dark and screwed up. And I also love those bits where Batman becomes like he locks Tim Drake up in a cell at one point and won't include him in any of their plans, or like they keep saying you should let Robin help. He's like, I'm fine. Let Robin do what he's doing. I can do this on my own. And you could he's just so stubborn and he's losing his edge. And so as much as like the combat is really refined in that game and really fun, it's also a really deep like analysis of Batman's character. Like that, I think that aspect of that game does get overlooked or kind of overshadowed by the shitty Batmobile. Like I think unfortunately that's such a distractor. That there is amazing shit in there. And then Asylum, I think is just the tidiest game of the series. Like there's no part of that game that I dislike. You know what I mean? There's no part where I go, oh, fuck, not this bit. Whereas like even City, I love City. I love the teams of City. But I do get to that point where you have to find like Penguin's communicators and stuff, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Even actually navigating around City is kind of annoying because of the water.
Yeah. Or like I hate
also,
the big Riddler trophies everywhere.
With City as well, it's like you're at Joker place, you're at like the steel mill or something, and then you got to go to the museum, and you can't just fly in a straight line. Or you got to fly around Wonder Tower, and it's just like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then all the green question marks that are all just there straight away. I mean, you can collect half of them before Riddler's even introduced, and it's like,
yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that layout is actually very good. Like again, I think City has an incredible story, but I think Night has a better map, and I actually enjoy playing more, even though there are bits that I really dislike. It's between Night and Asylum, and I can't pick right now. Maybe by the end of this, I'll know.
Now you know how Eric feels in every single episode.
Yeah, but I'm not saying I can't pick anything at all. I can narrow it down. But
yeah. You have like 4 games to choose from, and then when you ask me what my favorite game is, I have like fucking 250 to choose from.
Yeah, but even if you went, it's between this and this, I would accept that. You always go, I don't know. That's it. Maybe I'll know by the end of this. You know what? No, it depends on mood. And I'm going to be honest, at the moment, it's Night. At the moment, Arkham Knight is my favorite Batman game. But it depends on mood. There's times where I go, no, fuck this Batmobile, Asylum. You know, so it totally depends on mood. But I do think Arkham Asylum is the tidiest game of that lot, like the tightest one. Okay, the question I was going to ask.
Well, then.
Who's your favorite on-screen, so live-action Batman?
It's got to be Adam West.
Right?
Nothing
Right.
beats Adam West doing
Gotta be.
this and his fucking little dance thingy, whatever the hell he's doing. Yeah, Adam's doing like an
I mean, it's just-
impersonation of Gollum or something right there.
Yeah, the Adam West thing, it just fits like my glove.
Yeah.
It's- they had great lines. They had great lines.
They did.
I
You
don't
know what,
know.
actually,
This
just
is
for a second,
this-
1960s Batman, my favorite. I think like Robin was actually the best of the two of them, but my favorite, like you know, his holy moments
yeah.
was in the movie, and the villains are escaping on these like umbrellas, these giant umbrellas that Penguin has. They're all like flying on them like brooms, and they're all going across in the sky. Like Batman and Robin are just late to stop them from getting away, and Robin looks up and goes, "Holy Halloween, Batman!" It's just fucking, it's hilarious. I think it's gas. Anyway, sorry, your favorite live action.
It's actually between Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck, which I'm glad they're bringing both of them back for the Flash.
Samesies.
Yeah.
I was gonna say samesies. You know what it is?
Wow.
You know what it is? My favorite. See, it's kind of difficult because like Batman, there's different layers to him, obviously, and there's different parts of him. My favorite portrayal of Batman in film, probably like the overarching thing, is probably Christopher Nolan's.
You mean the movies?
No, but yeah, not only do I love those movies, but just in terms of like the Batman idea and how he came about.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
all that
yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I think Christian Bale does an incredible Bruce Wayne. It's just
Yeah.
unfortunate that his Batman voice is like
Well, it's
very
not
mean.
It's not just the voice though. I think
I don't
it's-
even think his suit is good.
Yeah, I think
He
it's
hasn't-
I
the
agree.
I think he's fine in Batman Begins actually. The
Yeah.
way they frame him and the way he postures and stuff like that, he does take on this.
That suit is very good as well.
Yeah, it does take up this kind of predator like kind of silhouette.
Yeah.
But when they go to the Dark Knight onwards, the way they frame him is it's really weird. It just looks like this dude who just showed up in costume. It's so odd. It doesn't match like and
I
he no
agree.
longer feels scary.
A lot of it, I think, is to do with the broad daylight scenes.
Yeah,
It's just kind of weird,
yeah,
you know.
it's true.
Weird
Yeah,
watching Batman walk around in broad daylight dressed in his costume.
I actually do think I hold Keaton so high just because if it wasn't for him and Burton, like what would Batman be? You know what I mean? Like what would the Christian Bale Batman ever exist if it wasn't for
right.
Michael Keaton? Like I think they showed how to do it essentially.
Or even
Yeah.
the animated Batman series.
But would that exist if it wasn't for Burton's film?
That's
No,
what I'm
but-
saying.
yeah,
That's
but-
what
yeah,
I'm saying.
exactly,
Like,
yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
yes,
that's where,
yeah.
yeah.
So like we owe a lot to that, which is why I really love Michael Keaton's Batman. But I do think my favorite on-screen Batman is Ben Affleck because I think he does such a great Bruce Wayne for the age that the character's at. And that kind of he puts on the Playboy Bruce Wayne at the party and stuff like that. He does that so well. But when he's Batman, fucking hell, he is so brutal and scary. And the suit is definitely my favorite on-screen suit.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
Just because I always wondered why do they never do the gray suit,
Yeah. Right.
and it worked.
It does work. I suppose a lot of people go, well, black. Like if it's not black, it's just not gonna be scary. But I mean,
But like
it was.
Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight suit isn't really black. It's like
Yeah,
a
it is.
it's like an off black or something. It's like a really bright black or something. I don't know how to fuck.
Bright black.
I don't know how they do it, but it's
I want to ask you to fucking decorate my house. I'm looking for an off-white. Eric, that's fucking great.
hey Chris, off white is a real fucking thing.
I know it is.
Now off black isn't, but off white definitely is.
Yeah. Eric, which one of the two then do you have a favorite or?
Sure, I'll answer once you. Oh no, you said Arkham Knight. Fuck.
You got me.
Probably the Ben Affleck one.
Yeah.
On the basis of, yeah, see him be Bruce Wayne. He's very good Bruce Wayne. The Batman suit is really cool. When he does do a bit of detective work in it as well, so that's great. And then on top of that, you see him fight and you see him use gadgets. And it's the Arkham Batman in movie form. And ever since you play
that
Arkham
warehouse
games,
scene is incredible.
yeah, when you play the Arkham games, like right, well that's the Batman we all want because that's Batman, and then that's what Zack Snyder gave you, and I was like, fucking sound on, well done, dude.
And he looks like at one point he looks like the Lego Batman.
Yeah, he does it all.
He
In
does
fact,
it all.
he actually looks like fucking Bruce Wayne from the Arkham games. I don't know how they did it, but he looks like him. It's fucking great.
I think Ben Affleck as well, but in Batman v Superman. I'm
Oh
looking forward.
Yeah.
Because when I say that, I don't want anyone to in any way misunderstand me here. I do.
God no, yeah,
I can't wait to see what he's like in Zack Snyder's cut.
yeah.
But I fucking hated him in Justice
Yeah,
League,
he's
and I
brutal.
was like,
as far as I'm
what?
concerned,
Literally everyone is brutal in that film though.
yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, though, there was no other version of Ben Affleck's Batman. There was only the BVS version.
But I think Michael Keaton is a close second. I rewatched his 2 Batman movies there during the week, and I must have been gearing up for Batman Day. But yeah, he's great. He's fucking great.
Those films actually really hold up as well.
Yeah.
They do. I still prefer the first one. The second one.
I also think now on the topic of talking about the Batman and obviously one of his key aspects, I think Tim Burton's Batmobile is the best looking Batmobile in the movies.
Definitely.
I agree. That was the next question. I was going to go, what's your favorite Batmobile? And absolutely Tim Burton's Batmobile. Because I think it has that nice, so some of them have gone for like the tactical tank style thing with like weapons, and some of them have just gone for a nice swift sports car. And this actually has both, where it looks like a really slick, cool sports car, but it has all these different compartments of weapons coming out, and it reminds me of like a James Bond car.
Yeah, but it also has
what
a
Batmobile
fucking,
should be.
It has a jet exhaustion fucking thing to make it go like on the back of it.
Yeah,
The car is a freaking jet.
it's sick,
Machine gun. It's so good.
but it looks amazing. It looks incredible. It looks like it obviously did.
Yeah.
It is a green car.
I think Joel Schumacher's H.R. Geiger fucking rib thing, it's close second. Nothing beats the Batmobile with rib cage.
Well, actually, what would be your second? Just out of curiosity.
Is that your second?
No.
No.
God, no. That's a really good question because I think none of them really come that close to.
I think my second would be the Batman v Superman one.
Yeah, I was gonna say either the BVS one or the Adam West one. The Adam West one is actually a stunning car.
I was going to say Adam West, to be honest. I think it's just such a nice.
I actually,
Right
to be honest, I forgot about it for a second. I do lean more towards the car that works as a car first.
Yeah.
That just has gadgets as
Like I
opposed
would
to
actually drive the
Batmobile.
Adam West one around. You know what I mean? Like,
Fuck
Class.
yeah.
it's
Anyone
so
says they wouldn't is fucking crazy. Someone going,
well,
"No,
I can't imagine
refuse."
popping into I
refuse
can't
to.
imagine popping into Aldi with the fucking BVS one. Like, to be fair.
Yeah, you do your shopping in it. Let's put it that way.
No.
Okay, so talking about like favorite versions of things, okay.
Yeah.
I suppose we look at Batman is only as cool as his villains are. So very quickly we got the number one villain, the Joker, which has been our favorite on-screen version of the Joker.
Our favorite on-screen version of Joker.
Yeah. I
Oh,
won't
yeah.
Hold
on there.
So like, which is our favorite comic book depiction of the Joker? Because there's so fucking many.
Are we only talking live action here?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. Yeah, that's why I was kind of questioning.
At the moment, yeah.
Okay, only live action.
Because we did live action Batman, so.
Okay, Heath Ledger. Then. Has to be Heath Ledger.
I'm gonna say Heath Ledger as well. Definitely.
Adam, if you don't
But I
agree with
also-
us, we've been on a good run
The
here
great
with
thing-
agreeing with each other.
I think-
I will fuck you up.
The great thing about the Joker is most of his depictions have been actually brilliant. Because I would say
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix and Jack Nicholson were also both incredible. I think.
Yeah, like I just thought between those three.
Yeah, and I think as well for its time, obviously it's not the best in terms of the overall Joker character, but for what the '60s one was, I think Cesar Romero was very good. I think he was very good at what he was doing.
I do think Jack Nicholson's one is really fucking good. Like that is so close to like different depictions of that era as well. Heath's I think reimagined the Joker. I think it modernized them, it changed them. It's not like the comic,
No,
but it
it
is
also
an
is.
incredible joke. I think I like almost like his Batman. The ideology of it is,
Yeah.
but the presentation obviously is not. I would say as well with Joaquin Phoenix as well. That's there's parts of it that are kind of within the comic, but it's not bang on. But between those three, I just can't pick a favorite because like any one of those three, if let's say they were going to do another Joker in another Batman movie, and it was going to be either of those three, let's say he's still alive,
Yeah.
all right? Like, could you imagine if they said, "Oh yeah, like with the Flash movie, we're going to bring back Jack Nicholson as Joker"? Would you be disappointed?
Of course not.
No.
No, I wouldn't be disappointed about any of them. No, of course
No.
not. Absolutely not.
So
That's what I'm
it's
saying. I
like-
love them all. But
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to pick a favorite. I don't think.
aw, we finally got at him.
Yeah. Those three are so fucking good. I
Yeah,
think.
they're incredible.
Wait now.
Wait now, how come we haven't mentioned Jared Leto though?
Maybe I'll
he's,
go
he's
with.
too he's like too good to mention, you know.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
This is hard. This is so hard. Maybe Joaquin Phoenix.
Wow, yeah.
Oh,
I mean, he was
okay.
okay.
It's
Fucking incredible.
absolutely phenomenal.
So
good.
Okay, outside of the Joker, who's your favorite Batman villain? Because obviously it is the Joker, but if outside of the Joker, who would be your next favorite?
Right now, like Batman has had villains that span even outside of his rogues gallery. So, are we just
Yeah, that's true.
specifically his rogue?
His
I
rogue
think
gallery.
ones that are more central his rogue. Yeah. Because I don't think you could pick Lex Luthor because, you know, they bash, but he is a Superman villain.
Yeah.
Why,
I
are you
love
thinking
the
of-
modernization. I love the more modern Freeze.
Oh, right.
I think that's fantastic. Whether it's the what's his name? Paul Dini, is that his name? The writer. Either his take on it or even the new 52 story arc of Freeze is fucking awesome. Like that's so fucked up.
Yeah, it is really fucked up.
But I think his story is so tied to Nora. But so either Freeze or Poison Ivy, which is ironic because those two are like the worst in terms of the films. Like those two are in the worst like
But you know,
live
what
action.
you know this as well. I think they could be great on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone should shy away from using them in the future.
No.
Because if you're afraid of the mere mention of it, because I think like everyone cringed when Christopher Nolan said he was doing Bane, and all they could think of was, you know, obviously there was people out there who actually read the comics who were like, no, Bane is a great villain, but there was many people who were just like, I know Bane from that Joel Schumacher movie, oh god. And then Tom Hardy's Bane was incredible, I thought, really good. So
Yeah.
I don't think people should be afraid to touch those villains again.
I think it'd be hard to do though, because even with the live action Gotham TV show, which is not a good example, but even they couldn't do them well. I think they're hard to do.
fucking anything well.
Yeah, they
That's
they
fair.
could do the opening credits well.
As a massive Batman fan, I was never more fucking offended than Gotham. I was like, this is the show I want, and you're fucking it up like so
I
much.
just think it would be hard to do Ivy and Freeze live action well. They work so well in the comics. Like Ivy is like probably one of the most powerful beings in the DC universe.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like how does Batman take her on kind of thing. Like it works so well in comics, but I just think when you move out of the comic medium, some things just kind of fall apart. I think.
Yeah.
You know, not everything works live action.
No, that's true.
So.
Yeah. Eric, favorite Batman villain
I-
outside of the Joker?
Right. Okay. So Mr. Freeze did enter my head.
Yeah.
And I do actually love Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy on the basis of I kind of feel really sorry for them. And like when I'm playing the Arkham games, I'm like, Batman, stop being a dick to these people. All Mr. Freeze want is Nora. Just fucking give him Nora, you absolute arsehole. And then with Poison Ivy's always all like, oh, I'm gonna burn every plant in Gotham. It's like, just stop. If you just give her a fucking garden, she'd be fine. Like, just stop, like, just give her a goddamn
Poor
rose.
woman alone. Now the thing is, though, in fairness, she is sadistic as well, though.
Yeah.
No, I
Both of
did
them are.
actually. I had to remind myself that if you give Poison Ivy a garden, she will destroy Gotham.
Yeah.
But if you give Mr. Freeze Nora, he'll just go into his little man ice cave and work on Nora.
Well, that's what I love about those two is that like they think they are connected to them. You know what I mean? Like she thinks she's like Mother Nature essentially, which she's not. Like she's essentially her mind is poisoned. Like isn't it like she's like connected? Like we're getting real nerdy here, but she's like connected to the green.
She's poisoned.
Yeah, well, I suppose there's different versions of her, but all in all, she's a metahuman. You know, she's got superpowers, much like anyone else. But it'd be like, I suppose if the Flash suddenly thought that he is quantum physics, and he has ownership over all quantum physics, you know, it's like you're fucking delusional, man. That's just an ability I have. Like,
and then like I really love Freeze's like the New 52 style thing where Nora was just a project he was assigned to, and he just ended up falling in love with her.
Yeah, it's a really cool story.
It's not actually his wife, and he just becomes obsessed with her. And then he ends up convincing himself that it's his wife and kills for her. Like that is fucking that's
it's
so
a
cool.
great great take.
It's very Gotham. It's very like
it is, yeah.
Batman villain. Although when it comes to a favorite outside of Joker, I'd probably actually have to go with the Riddler.
Yeah, I'm a Riddler guy too.
Riddle her.
And it's weird because it's
you
really
riddle me.
You riddle me. But it's really hard to find like a really good, like strong depiction of the Riddler.
We may get one, yes.
I am so excited for it. I am so excited for that. I love the idea of the Riddler. I love the challenges that the Riddler brings to. I mean, there's no better villain really to rival the greatest detective than someone who literally leaves clues to the crimes. Like he makes the most sense in that regard. And the whole thing that he's like obsessed with just like proving he's smarter and is willing to die for that and do all sorts of fucked up shit. And it's weird, like it is paradoxical. He wants to outsmart you because he wants to prove he's smarter. But then he also wants you to figure it out so that you could see how clever it was.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like he's also kind of disappointed
I
about
relate
it
to
doesn't
that.
figure it out. And I really like that. But another Batman villain I love is Scarecrow.
Scarecrow is good. The one thing I love about those two villains, Scarecrow and Riddler, is like the Joker, you could almost do anything with them.
Yeah.
Like with Mr. Freeze, you have to involve Nora. With Poison Ivy, you have to involve plants,
That's
and
true,
they're fantastic villains. But with Joker, Riddler, and Scarecrow, you can almost do whatever you want, as long as you have either laughing gas,
like they have a gag that
toxin.
isn't external to them.
Yeah.
And as long as you involve that, you can totally change the character. But I just think Scarecrow provides so many great stories in terms of, you know, putting people in hallucination. Like you could do whatever you want once you have Scarecrow and Fear Toxin. You know, you can fucking anything. Are there any Batman villains that you would love to see on the big screen that have never been put to the big screen?
Red Hood, Black Mask,
Black Mask has.
Black Mask has been
on the big screen.
Yeah, he's a villain in Birds of Prey.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You'd like to see him again.
Try it again.
Try it again.
Try again there. Try it again when he actually wears the black mask.
I noticed none of us are like jumping out for Firefly here.
I was actually Firefly was the third villain in my head.
Really?
Yeah, I was going Red Hood, Black Mask, Firefly, and then just before I said Firefly, I said all of them.
Oh, running out of them.
Scarface would be interesting.
We
Not
got-
as a main villain,
Yeah.
but just to see a little cameo of Scarface with the ventriloquist. Because there's actually, I watched a video today on YouTube. It was like 10 really creepy or scary DC villains that no one ever heard of. And when you watch it, you've heard of most of them when you're a DC fan. But one of them was like, I can't remember her name, but she's like a psychic or something. He uses Scarface. Like, she
Alright.
actually telepathically uses Scarface to run around and harm people that insult her. But she still thinks Scarface is doing it, even though she's
that's
controlling
fucking
him.
Cool. That's
She put
fucking cool.
she put drills in Scarface's hands so that he can stab people with the drills and
This
stuff.
shit's just not for kids, like.
No, like
Yeah.
it's just
Like I think, like imagine doing like the Joker kind of character study with the ventriloquist.
Wow, yeah. No, as a movie, it would be fucking
Yeah,
great.
that would be amazing. Like,
That
'cause
would be so good.
what's great about that is that it doesn't, although it's a Batman villain tied to Batman, it's like you don't have to give it that treatment. You know, you're not reliant on
Absolutely
Batman.
not. No, not at all.
And what's great about that is, you know, with Scarface and stuff like that, it's like, well, who's the villain there?
Well, it has to be Arnold Wesker.
Right.
Well,
Right.
okay, so the story goes to it, and because there is supernatural stuff in the comics, like I think it is interesting. It's like people could make the debate. It's like, no, the puppet is haunted. The puppet is
Yeah.
alive. It's
Yeah.
like, and it's like, no, the guy's just crazy. You know, and because it's comics, it could be either or. So you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if everything was grounded, then no, you'd go, no, well, it's clearly the guy. But because you have characters like Clayface and Poison Ivy and these kinds of things, like it could be haunted. Like Solomon Grundy is a Batman villain. He's a zombie. You know, it could be haunted. I love it. I fucking love it.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
good character.
I would love to see Hush,
Mm.
Mhm.
Doctor Strange. I love Hugo Strange. And the Mad Hatter.
Hatter
love-
would be amazing.
I would
Oh,
love
yeah.
to see them on the big screen. And do you know who would make a great Mad Hatter? What's his name? Your man who played Culbertson Smith in,
So,
Sherlock. What's his name again?
I was about to say
Toby Jones?
Toby Jones.
Toby Jones.
Yeah,
Imagine him as the Mad Hatter.
that'd be good,
I-
alright.
He would be great.
He would actually, and this is not really supposed to sound like an insult towards him, but it's going to. He'd be a great nearly any Batman villain. Nearly
Well,
any.
no, yeah, I know.
Like-
I do think he would make a fantastic Batman Rogues. I don't know why. He just. Yeah, he would.
He could
You're right.
be the Penguin. Like, you just get him to be the Penguin, and it'd work.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
the
I'm looking
George
forward to
Smith.
see Colin Farrell's Penguin. That's so.
Oh,
interesting.
yeah.
What a choice. How about you, Adam? Any Batman villains in particular you'd like to see adapted that haven't?
All of them. Yeah, well, I
All
think
of
the
Calendar Man.
That well, actually, yeah,
I love-
Calendar
Oh
Man
my
would be
god,
fucking
Calendar
amazing.
Man would be so good.
Yeah.
That'd be really good. It'd be like the you know, like you could do a Seven or Zodiac kind of vibe film with him, especially considering like, you know, going through all the you could do the whole long Halloween, man.
The Long Halloween is.
I just.
I actually the news that came out that apparently they're adapting that into animated movies for next year
Yeah,
made me so fucking happy because I love that comic so much. And apparently it's going to be split in two, which makes me think that unlike some of the other ones that they've done, it's going to be like the Dark Knight Returns animated films, where it's actually going to be very close, which I hope it is. Because the Dark Knight
Calendar Man
Returns is
plays
fantastic.
pretty much the role of Hannibal Lecter in that, isn't he? He's like a consultant.
Yeah, and it's on purpose. Like they even have him behind the glass, and he's wearing
Yeah,
pretty much
yeah.
the same gown, and it's brilliant. Especially because Calendar Man classically was incredibly goofy, but that totally revised him.
We
It's so
are
good.
totally nerding out right now because we just naming all these different villains. Anyone who doesn't know these people are like, what the fucking
I
shit are
think,
these
I,
people?
I, I think actually at this point though, those kind of Batman villains are no longer obscure. I actually think they're quite well known at this point.
Well,
What-
especially if you watch
What
like
do you think
the...
is the most obscure Batman villain?
Well, I think he's going to be in the Suicide Squad. He's Polka Dot Man, probably.
Yeah,
You know, like he's pretty obscure.
yeah.
I was even going to say Condiment Man, but he's in fucking Lego Batman.
I was gonna say, like the obscure ones got little shout out in Lego Batman for the
Yeah.
crack, and they're like,
Yeah.
give 'em a Google, I swear they're real. Which I thought was fucking gas. I suppose before we finish up, because this has gone from being a bonus to nearly a full episode, but you can talk about. I mean, look,
We could go Batman all night, man.
go Batman all night. I am the night. But we just touched on animated films there, and there's quite a few, and I just wonder, of the Batman animated movies that exist, is there one that you think is above the rest?
I see. I haven't seen enough of them, so
Because I don't think enough people have seen these, if I'm being honest.
yeah, I definitely haven't.
They're well worth a watch. They're worth a watch. Like, I think people should check them out. The DC animated films in general are pretty strong movies. Like,
Yeah, pretty good. What have we got? We got Under the Red Hood.
I
Dark
can really
Knight
only
Returns.
say The Dark Knight Returns, just because it's the only one that it's not the only one I've seen, but it's the only one I really remember.
Mhm.
And I haven't seen enough of them. I think I've seen Hush. I think I've seen Under the Red Hood.
Hush was okay.
Yeah. I've seen The Killing Joke.
That was okay. I mean, I don't really think The Killing Joke is a story you can adapt.
I was
into a
actually
film,
really
though.
surprised that they were pushing for it for so much, because it's really short.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah, it is.
And it's
yeah.
another one where I don't like, I have The Killing Joke, and I love the Batman comics, but there's some of them that I think are kind of overpraised. Not to the like The Killing Joke is a great story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's the best comic book ever written, and often that's what's written on it, and people often say that, and I'm like, I don't think that's true. It's really good.
I think it's for its time, kind of a thing.
Possibly,
It's a bit like Swamp Thing, for example.
Right.
Like Swamp Thing is really held up there as really well written DC character, but by today's standards, it's pretty mediocre. But it's because in that time, that's a dying character. No one gave a shit about it, and Alan Moore basically came in and like he managed to do that whole like let's start again while acknowledging the past kind of a writing job, and by doing that, and also he created Constantine in that story as well. So, for its time, it is like the best thing ever. But you know, I think outside of that time period, it just doesn't hold up. And I think The Killing Joke is probably the same. Like it added another side to the Joker that probably wasn't present prior to that.
Right. Yeah. Cool. So it's our favorite animated film anyway.
I'm just gonna go to Dark Knight Returns because I you know, even watching that again, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is so well written.
Yeah, it's incredible. And the music is really good as well. And the voice acting is really, really good. For most of it.
RoboCop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does that. Yeah, it's like good. Sure, you've got rights. You're also bleeding to death. You're like, yeah, you fucking are. Eric, which one would be your favorite if you had to pick one?
Yeah, I think like Adam, I can only really remember The Dark Knight Returns because I did watch that probably the most because it is so good. But I prefer part 2 to part 1.
Really?
Yeah. But I'd always watch part 1 because it's like you can't watch like Two Towers. No, you have to watch The Fellowship of the Ring. Then you have to watch Two Towers. But then while you're there, you might as well watch The Return of the King.
Yeah.
All into one sitting. So yeah, I prefer part 2 more so than part 1 because it has the Joker in it and the music to that is so good.
Oh, that bit is so good.
Michael Emerson's performance is amazing, and just that alone just embodies the Joker. That very short, relatively short segment.
Yeah.
When he's having the interview and then he gets the mug and then he just randomly breaks the mug and kills everyone in the fucking place, and it's just like, well, there's the Joker for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it also has the fight with Superman as well.
Yeah.
And that's also a great fight. And his quote as well, his speech at the end of it is brilliant. So I'd probably go with that one on the basis of a lot of the recent Batman stuff hasn't been that good.
On the basis of everything I just said.
Yeah.
But you can see, like, when you're watching it or even reading it, every Batman film is drawn from it somehow. Like even the Sons of Batman idea,
absolutely.
like there's Christopher Nolan's Batman. The idea of creating a symbol and inspiring. Obviously BVS. It'll be hard to fucking miss the inspiration from that.
Wait, I don't get it. Was that based on a comic?
Probably the first introduction of the tank.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tumblr.
Horrible.
I really love one of my favorite points in that story as well is like Selena escorts.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And he finds her like tied up as Wonder Woman, and it's watching it, and then like Pagan was saying like what the hell is, why is she dressed up as Wonder Woman? And it's like, well, obviously her escort is like about fulfilling people's fantasies about sleeping with superheroes and shit like that. So like just from that small little
Detail.
it's just like there's such a huge world he created here.
Yeah.
It's messed up.
It is messed up. The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2 are well worth watching, and I think you can get a version of it where they cut them together as one movie as well, because I have that, and it's a great watch. It's an amazing movie. My personal favorite is Under the Red Hood, but only because it actually introduced me to that character, and I really love the whole, like, just reminded me of Obi-Wan and Anakin kind of a thing, the apprentice turning to the dark side. I remember, Eric, you were saying you'd love Red Hood to be a Batman villain in a movie. I would also love that, but I think, unfortunately, it's way more likely that we're going to get a Red Hood standalone anti-hero movie at this point, because he's kind of become that. I do prefer the Jason Todd as Batman's villain thing. I think that's so fucking cool. And also, shout out to John DiMaggio. Like, usually when I hear a voice actor doing Joker that's not Mark Hamill, I'm like, oh, fuck's
Oh, did
sake.
you like that?
I thought John DiMaggio did a really good job.
That's the
Personally.
one bit that put me off.
Really?
film,
The only
like,
thing I
yeah.
don't like about that movie is Black Mask's voice actor. I think he's way too over the top. But that's it. But like Jensen Ackles as Red Hood is great in it, and yeah. And the score to that was really good too. That's Christopher Drake. He scored the Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2, loads of other animated films, but he also scored Arkham Origins, which arguably in the Arkham games has the best score, I would say, nearly of the series, with the Christmas bells and dark music and that Carol of the Bells rendition. Oh,
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, it's good.
Tasty.
But anyway, that's our tribute to Batman this year. We'll probably talk about Batman more in the future. More stuff's going to come up. It's Batman. He's not going anywhere. And I think all three of us are looking very much forward to The Batman, which will be coming out next year. And that might spawn another conversation about Batman as a character in general. But if you've been listening, first of all, thank you very much for listening, and then get in touch to let us know your thoughts on Batman as a character. If you have any it doesn't have to be just stuff we covered. If you have a favorite Batman animated episode, if you have a favorite Batman comic, if you don't like Batman, you can tell us why you don't like Batman, and then everything that we did cover, your favorite live action Batman, your favorite Batmobile, your favorite Batman villain, what Batman villains you'd like to see, let us know. We'd love everyone to get in touch with us, and thank you again for listening. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.